Are there someone who would like to lead us with a prayer? Kaya wala. Di ba nandun naman sa guidelines ko, mag-lead you yourself with the prayer. Pero pag ayaw niyo ng blessings ni Lord, sige, okay lang. Sige. Wala. You may start then with your presentation. Ayaw ng blessings. Go ahead.
Ma'am, nakikita po.
Oh, good luck sa inyo ha. Kung makadefend again, wala kayong blessings eh. Joke. Okay, sige, start. Do the recordings, please. So, by the way, we have Ma'am Alma with us and Ma'am Joanne from the CTE department who will be guiding you with your research along with Dr. Gregory Lambanisha from the CAS department. Okay, so you may now start presenting your paper.
So good afternoon again, our dear panelists. Allow us to present to you our research paper entitled Gender Politeness in the Written Speech of Students to Their Teachers. I am Perla Bagni, and I will be starting off with our SOP. So our SOP consists of two major questions. First one is, what politeness strategies in written speech are commonly used by male and female students to their teachers along bold on record, negative politeness, positive politeness, and off record? The second major question is, what are common linguistic styles in written speech used by students to politely communicate with their teachers along choice of words and sentence structure?
Okay, naririnig po ba ako?
Continue.
Okay. As for my discussion po, sa page 7, I will be discussing on why we chose this study and its purpose. So, many politeness study has been carried out, but few have shown the difference between the linguistic politeness of the language of male and female in classroom. Also, we the researchers noticed that few research has specifically addressed gender and politeness to written speech in the Philippines context. So therefore, this study will be conducted to reveal how second-year BS Ed students applies politeness in written speech to their teachers to discern male and female students' common linguistic politeness used in their written speech. So the purpose of this study is to help the students to communicate more effectively and professionally, and also to support teacher-student relationship for a success of teaching learning processes in the classroom. Okay, now let's proceed to methodology. Okay. As for the methodology, so page 13. Okay, so since we are going to analyze the messages of second year BS Ed students, we are going to use qualitative content analysis. So as Lou stated, the goal of content analysis is to find out about purposes, messages, and effects of communication content. And as for population and local of the study, we are going to choose second year BS Ed students of University of the Cordilleras because we think that they can more participate as they are more exposed to ODL or online distance learning. So they might have message their teachers multiple times. So now let's proceed to data gathering, instrument, and data analysis.
So I am Patrick Cruz. So I will discuss the data gathering instruments and treatment of data. So in data gathering, we have different platforms to communicate between students and the teachers who have text or SMS, Messenger, emails, or Canvas. So we will be collecting different data or photos of every conversation. So we have 4 categories. So valid on, negative, positive, and off record. So I will provide an example. So may nabasa tayong communication between a student. Ang last message is, "Thank you for your lesson for today, ma'am. You look gorgeous today." So if I will conclude, that will be a positive politeness strategy. Bakit ko nasabi yun? Because it complements. So to prove that, pupunta tayo sa treatment of data. So we will finding a supervisor that has expertise to analyze the sentences, statements, and words. Siyempre, yung kukunin nating supervisor, meron siyang background about language. Para saan? To check yung ginawa naming collection of data and also to critique kung may tatama ba sa pinaggagawa natin. So that's all.
So that's all for the PPT presentation. We are now open panelists for questions, suggestions, and recommendations.
Okay. Ma'am Janice, may I go ahead?
Sam, you're the
May I go ahead? May I go first?
Sam, it's your move.
Okay. I have a question for you. So as I was reading your paper, I noticed that number 1, most of your related literatures date back how many decades ago? Okay, most of your related studies, although I know politeness is a very old thing, it has been around since we started speaking. I know that. However, I have noticed yan ang una kong puna. Tapos I have a question. Okay, can you please give me answer to this one? Ano ang relevance ng study ninyo? Considering that you have said na dito sa may walang pages yung papers ninyo. Okay, about 3 decades ago, the subject of language politeness. 3 decades ago. Okay, so how will your study be very new? What is very new about your study if we are dating this back to 3 decades ago, the subject on language politeness? How will your study be new? How will you guarantee? Bago tayo magtanong-tanong, what is the guarantee that this one is new? What you will show us?
Okay, ma'am. Since our research paper focuses on the gender politeness, specifically on during the ODL, ma'am. That's what makes it unique from our from the previous research, wherein it was dated back, and our paper focuses on the ODL, online distance learning, wherein the messages were sent via email, chat, or PM.
But you
or
only
DM.
discussed something about ODL, isang paragraph lang sa may background of the study ninyo. Okay? So I think you have to establish that in the background. And then last, before I ask my co-panel members. Okay, so here, there are no beneficiaries of your studies, walang significance yung paper. Okay, and then here, where will you get your data? From the students and from the teachers?
Ma'am, from the students po.
Where is data privacy there? Why are you going to study their messages when it's supposed to be very, very confidential?
Yes, ma'am. We already take...
ang guarantee that you will be very partial in discussing their messages? Kasi you are going to divulge very sensitive information. Tama ba yun? Parang ang sensitive noon eh. Kasi the reason why hindi nila masabi yan, mailagay in public is because it has to be a little bit sensitive siguro, di ba? Yung conservativeness of the message. So, paano ninyong i-treat yung data? pagka sensitive, ay wag natin tong ilagay. Pag hindi sensitive, ay lagay natin to. Ganun ba? How will you choose your data?
Ma'am, we are going to get the messages from the students privately. We will consider their confidentiality. So we will also if they are if they are willing to share their messages po.
Paano
we
pag
will-
hindi, Miss Sarah?
Ma'am?
Paano, inaano natin what if they don't like to give you messages? Because they want to consider it as very confidential.
Mm.
Ma'am, yung may gusto lang po yung kukunin.
Paano
namin.
nga kung walang may gusto? Kasi kung estudyante, ayaw ko. Promise. Okay, Mr. Patrick Cruz.
Magko-conduct na lang kami ng survey po, ma'am.
I think that could be one, or you should have a criteria naman in choosing your data para naman ma-preserve yung number one, syempre yung descriptness of the message.
Okay.
Okay, kasi kung written messages kasi ito ang ito ang problema ko rito, 'di ba? Buti naman sana kung letters ito na that are usually done inside the classroom, friendly letters, mga ganon, siguro maaari. But these are personal messages through the different social media applications. Okay, so before I proceed any further, can we ask our other panel members also? Thank you very much po, Ma'am Greg and Ma'am Joanne. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Ma'am Alma. Hello, researchers. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Excuse me for not opening my camera, huh? But anyhow, I'll be very much attentive to whatever suggestions and comments that we will be having. Okay, I would like to, of course, as a follow-up to Ma'am Alma's concern, it's also my concern, no? Be very careful. We might be violating the data
Yes.
privacy law.
Okay.
That is really one big question that I do have right now. And of course, tied up with that is the ethical consideration of your paper. I'm not saying that your topic is not good. Actually, it's good. But the main concern now is how are we going, all right, to protect the respondents with this idea. Okay. So will you be considering ethical consideration? Will your paper be undergoing ethical consideration through the ethics committee of our university? So I guess I'm agreeing with that of Ma'am Alma's idea also.
Yes.
Then one thing more, yun na nga, messages coming from teachers and students are so private. So how are you going to penetrate this? If Ma'am Alma doesn't want, well, knowing my personality, ayaw ko din naman na ma-reveal sa inyo yung pinag-usapan namin ni teacher. So, paano na yun? Okay. All right. Now, let me move you to the next part. What is the difference between politeness techniques and politeness strategies? I'm on, walang page number. I'm actually on your statement of the problem, no? Your general problem, you have there politeness techniques, but your SOP number 1 is talking about politeness strategies. Okay.
Techniques and strategies. Okay. Techniques and strategies. Techniques and strategies. Anyone? Difference po. Difference po, no? Naka-open mic pala. Sorry po, ma'am.
Are they the same?
Patrick, go ahead. Seems like you have an idea.
Ma'am, for
Um,
my own opinion, it's a yes. They're the same,
Mm-hmm.
but I
How
would
about
ask
Sarah?
others.
yes, ma'am. They are just the strategy and the technique is just the same.
Okay. How about Perla?
Si ano po, Perla po yung nagsalita kanina. Sarah.
Sorry, Sarah.
Opo, similar po.
Oh, sige. Okay. May I request you then to look for, all right, definition of what a politeness technique versus politeness strategies. Okay. Because even with the term itself, remove the politeness there, techniques and strategies will be different. Just like in your methods of research, methods of teaching, right? You have approaches, you have methods, you have strategies, you have techniques. Are they the same? Of course not. And I would like you, that's your first assignment, and I would like you to look for the difference of that. Okay, now let's proceed. Okay, the first one, you are trying to, you would like to know more about why gender politeness. Highlighting your title, you have there gender politeness in the written speech of students to their teacher. So there are actually like, here are the remarkable words. We have gender politeness, you have your written speech. Two big terms.
The gender politeness, ma'am, is pertains to gender pertains to male and female. That's why we include we incorporated the term gender politeness for the male and female.
How about written speech? How do you define that?
Written speech is these are the thoughts or the messages written or typed by a speaker to the receiver.
All right. Do you have anyone, an expert who can give us a definition of this? Patrick, you're saying something? You're
Paulit
muted.
yung tanong, ma'am.
Do you know someone, an expert who can give us an exact definition of what written speech is?
Exact someone, ma'am.
Exact definition of what written speech.
Ma'am, for me, it's the message or expression or the use of correct punctuation, ma'am.
Written speech. Sige, again, another example, another assignment, ha? Because these are two big terms that you have incorporated in your paper. So, dapat meron talaga kayong operational definition. Okay? Written speech ba talaga or written communication or sige. So, you try to explore on that one. Okay? All right. Sige. Sikan muna, may I turn you over to Miss Joanne muna bago ako magpatuloy.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Gregorlyn. I agree with Ma'am Alma and Ma'am Gregorlyn regarding regarding the data that you will be collecting. First, it would be better if you will consider the ethical consideration that Ma'am Gregorlyn was saying a while back. Aside from that one, in your data gathering instrument, it's also better if you will be including inclusion and exclusion criteria for the written communication or speech that you will be getting. Now, I do understand that somehow you have thought that the more written communications or like means of communication that you will be placing here, the more diverse the messages or maybe the data that you will be getting. But I would suggest that you may focus on one written communication only, since these are still very big. Like when you talk about SMS, Facebook Messenger, email, and Canvas, there are really a lot. So I will suggest, if it's okay with you, to just focus on maybe messages on emails only or messages on Canvas only, if you would like that one. So please try to check on that. And then yes, when it comes to your operational definition, kindly take note of the difference of the terms that you are discussing. A while back, I heard that you said that strategies and techniques are actually the same. When you go to your professional education subjects, one of the things that your teachers will tell you will actually be the difference of strategies, techniques, and methods. Am I right? So you still have approaches. So you have approaches, strategies, methods, and techniques. So when you try to compare, strategies are actually it's a broader concept as compared to the technique, because the technique is the most the most detailed among the four, okay, that I have discussed. So kindly check on that one. There is a certain difference. And yes, written speech and written communication, kindly take note of that one too, because there is also a particular difference. So since we're talking about the data that you will be gathering already. You have mentioned in your population and locale of the study about quota and sampling technique. How will you be using this one in your study, Miss Sarah?
Mom, since our respondents for is male and female, so they are going to be considered as group. So we will select 10 males and females.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes, continue, sorry.
yun po, ma'am.
Okay, so you have mentioned quota sampling, that you will be using this one to group male and female. However, I believe that if you will be using quota sampling, it will defeat the purpose that you will be classifying subgroups like male and female. If in your SOP, this particular quota sampling will not actually be of use, because when you try to take a look at your SOPs, there's no specific statement of the problem that will talk about now the difference between male and female, which I believe is the very reason why you're having this, the gender politeness in written speech. Because I guess your target really is to try to take a look at the difference on how male and female students communicate with their teacher. So please take note also in the statement of the problem, if you could also include a third SOP that will talk about now the difference on the politeness strategies in the written speech that are used by male and female. So Ma'am Alma also have mentioned about your references. Yes, please kindly take note of more recent references or researches about your study. At least have 10 years and below for those particular references. But again, if the references are really very important, and let's just say they are in the 90s or early 2000, then we cannot do anything. But at least try to take a look at more recent references. So that's it for me. For now, I guess Ma'am Alma and Ma'am Gregorlyn also have more comments to say. Thank you.
Okay, so that's it. That has been figured out. I think you have to include a criteria, and inclusion-exclusion criteria as to how you will choose your participants. And I think academic messages those that are pertaining to academics only should be screened. Okay, so I guess messages in the inbox of Canvas is better. Academic lang, anything that pertains to academics. So siguro with that, you could already determine the politeness, gender politeness that you are strategies. I think hindi ito techniques, these are strategies because they are written on books. Kasi pag techniques, iba ang technique ko, iba rin ang technique ni Ma'am Greg, iba rin ang technique ni Ma'am Joanne, but we are all imploring maybe a particular politeness strategy. Kasi pag technique, it differs from person to person, di ba? You get the idea? We are using the same method or the same strategy, for example. Pero iba-iba kami ng techniques. And you know that teachers have different techniques and so will this different itong mga nilagay ninyo dito for number 1, what politeness strategies in written speech are commonly used? Can you give us a sample answer for SOP number 1? Kasi hindi namin nakita yung questionnaire nyo eh. Diba? Wala pa kayong guide, wala kayong binigay na guide, walang page yung paper, walang beneficiaries, rather old, lahat ng materials. Ano pa? Can you give me an example for answer for SOP number 1? Para naman may idea kami how you are going to conduct your interview. Your interview or how you are going to qualify the messages.
Ma'am, our original plan actually was to give a letter to the chosen respondents po sana, kung saan sila po yung hihingan namin ng messages. That's why wala po kaming, ayun po.
Wala kayong sample answer? Ano ang pwedeng maging sagot sa SOP number 1? Kasi sabi mo, what politeness strategies are commonly used along bald-on record? Ano kaya ang maaaring politeness strategy along bald-on record? How are you going to measure it?
Ma'am, we are going
Nakita mo yung mensahe ko. For example, Dear Miss Kalugan, please excuse me for being absent yesterday in our Zoom meeting because my cat died, for example. Anong politeness strategy yon? Along bald on record, negative ba yan, positive ba yan, or off record?
Ma'am, it will fall under bald on record since your message is direct to the point, or your message is direct.
So it's not positive politeness?
It can also, ma'am, fall under
That's my question.
positive politeness.
Kaya nga, papaano ninyo itong i-qualify? So, my suggestion is you give us a better understanding of how you will codify these different messages, di ba? At saka ito, meron lang akong dito, since syempre messages ito sa Canvas to the teachers, tama?
Yes, ma'am.
Meron kayang tendency na yung estudyante hindi mag-implore ng politeness when they talk to their teachers?
I think, yes po.
For example, Ms. Daklan. Kasi you are talking about education students. Hindi naman sa sinasabi kong basta education, polite. Hindi yun ang point ko, okay? Marami na rin akong napagalitan sa messages, okay? Kung messages ang pag-uusapan, marami na rin akong napagalitan na bakit ganon ang uri ng mensahe, for example. Pero kung academic na ang concern, kasi sinusulat na sa Canvas di ba? Pag sa Canvas talagang usually medyo polite na yung bata. Alam mo kung bakit ko yan sinasabi sa inyong tatlo? Kasi hindi mo naman isusulat yan sa Canvas kung wala kang gustong mangyari Meron kang hinihinging favor sa instructor mo, correct? That's why you are writing through Canvas. Maaaring you are asking to be excused, you would want to take the exam again, you would want to submit a missing requirement. Sa tingin ninyo, meron bang hindi magiging polite doon? Regardless of it being a male or a female na estudyante? I'm just asking your opinion. Pwede kaya yun? I think that's something you have to consider also. Kailangan pag-isipan rin ninyo yun, ano? Kasi kung halimbawa, ma'am, kaya nga ang gusto sana namin nung una, pati messenger, kasi nga delikado yung messenger. 'Di ba? Ako ayoko talagang gamitin ninyo yon kasi that's very personal message. Parang kung gusto talaga ninyong ipipilit ninyo si messenger, let's undergo ethics committee, 'di ba? Kasi you are using ganito kasi yan, sasabihin mo, ma'am, hindi bali, hindi naman namin alam kung sinong nag-message. Hindi pwedeng hindi mo alam kasi they will give you the message, di ba? You already know the name of the student. And what's more, what do you call this? What's more alarming is you all belong to the same college. Practically, alam mo kung sino ito. Di ba? Ganyan ka palang mag-message, ha? Wala ka ba ng ka-politeness, ha? Yung parang ganon, di ba? So, hindi ko talaga isasuggest that you get it from there. O paano ulit? What politeness strategies kung bald on record? And pag negative politeness, paano? How does it look like, Mr. Patrick? Dito ba si Mr. Patrick?
Example, ma'am. I will construct a sentence, ma'am. In the Tagalog ko yan, ma'am. Alam mo ba yung sinasabi mo?
No. Let's talk about the messages themselves.
Okay.
Wag na tayo. Ayoko ng ibang example. Lalayo lang tayo, Mr.
Okay.
Patrick. Sayang ang oras, di ba? Gusto ko ma-distinguish mo kung ano ang negative politeness kung nagme-message ka sa teacher mo. Paano? How does it look like? How does it sound like?
Ma'am, it's a threat.
Threat? For example, ma'am, if you don't allow me to take the exam, face the consequences. Yun ba ang example dito?
Ma'am, parang kasing siya, minimize niya yung threat to the hearer or to the teacher, ma'am.
Ano?
Parang minimize niya yung threat doon sa hearer or the teacher.
Minimize niya. Ito, sabi mo dito, sana yun? Therefore, sige nga, kaya nga, bigyan mo nga ako ng example.
Sentence, ma'am, okay lang?
Ha?
Sentence.
I don't know. You just give me an example.
Okay, ma'am.
Sige, kaya mo yan.
Kasi may na-construct. May na-construct po eh. Okay, so sabi dito, it's being indirect or hedging, ma'am. So the sentence is, I don't suppose you know where the toilets are. Do you? So yung content ng message, ma'am, it's indirect or hedging, ma'am.
Do you think you use that to your instructors?
Kaya nga po. That's just an example, ma'am. Pero based on education, syempre, hindi natin to ganon nagagamit in educational purposes.
And then what's the guarantee that your research paper will work? Paano kung walang negative politeness na lumabas? Di ba? Parang na-disregard na yung isang strategy na yan, yung isang politeness strategy na yan. Okay? So I do not know. I will think about kung papaano. I am thinking na you ask the students to create a letter on the spot inside the classroom. You ask for permission, you create a letter, and then you analyze. You ask them to write a letter to their instructors on the spot, and then right there and then you just tell them anything na you would want to tell the teachers. Pero I think that's a very tedious thing, okay? Maybe Ma'am Greg and Ma'am Joanne can help us with this kasi medyo nalilito talaga ako how you are going to conduct it. Thank you very much, dear researchers. Thank you po, Ma'am Joanne and Ma'am Greg.
All right. Thank you, Ma'am Alma. Okay, once again, researcher, I guess SOP number 1, you already have provided the answer of your question. Okay, let's go back. What politeness strategies? A, B, C, D are all the strategies. Am I correct? So nothing to answer already because there is already the answer. But if you would like really to emphasize on the differences between male and female, then we have to reconstruct your SOP number 1. And let's try to have it like, what politeness strategies in written speech are used by, are commonly used by A, male, B, female. Then, your thematic presentation, your answer may depend on the answers can be categorized as, may it be bold on record, may it be negative politeness, positive politeness or off record. Okay, and I agree also with that of Ma'am Alma's suggestion. Actually, I have written here on my paper, why not create a scene or a situation where you can actually get directly the answer? Because for all you know, my dear researchers, you don't have any access to the inbox of the Canvas of any of your teachers. If in cases that you would like to continue that, who among your teachers will be willing, very much willing, to lend you the inbox from their Canvas? Do you have someone in mind already? Will Ma'am Alma lend you the Canvas? Will
I'm
Ma'am Jang
sorry,
lend
no.
you?
No, hindi pwede.
Okay.
Medyo ano yun, medyo huwag kayong magalit, researchers. I know it's for the purposes of research, pero
kasi nga, yun nga, we have to go back privacy-wise, ethics-wise, di ba? So yun. So I agree. You try to create a situation. Yun, pagawan nyo sila ng letter. At makikita nyo ngayon kung paano sila sumagot. And that is where you are supposed to attack. Itong babae, itong student number 1, female, ganito pala siya. More on negative pala siya. Student number 2, positive, bold on record siya. O, di ba? That's how I think, all right, will, of course, improve your SOP number 1. And Patrick, Ma'am Alma a while back is asking you an example of negative politeness. How are you going to analyze this? Doon papasok later on yung linguistic style, because you can identify only negative politeness through the use of modals. So papasok na ngayon yung SOP number 2 nyo. Pero mamaya na yon, ha? Sige. Ma'am Joanne, your turn please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that suggestion. So I guess this clarifies already what the students will be doing, because that is also one of the questions that I had when I was reading your methodology on how you will really conduct this study. So this study is interesting. However, the chosen way on how you will be conducting your study is quite questionable. So instead of just getting emails or messages, you can create a scenario. So instead of analyzing emails or messages, you will now be analyzing letters. Okay, so that will be the focus of your data. So a while back, I was suggesting SOP number 3, but since Ma'am Gregorlyn already had clarified that one, instead of an SOP number 3, we will just be recasting SOP number 1. So we will still have 2 SOPs. However, for SOP number 1, your focus will be the politeness strategies that are commonly used by male and female. So this is where you will be having comparison, not really identification already, but a comparison between the two genders. And then for number 2, I believe that will be discussed later on. Ma'am Alma?
Okay, so thank you very much, Ma'am Jo. And let's go to your ma'ams, okay na po tayo sa SOP1, ano?
Yes, ma'am, we're okay.
Okay,
I'm
Ma'am
okay with
Greg,
that.
Dr. Greg, are you okay? Okay na. Okay, so can you show us SOP number 2, please? What are common linguistic styles? Okay. Written speech used by students to politely along choice of words. Okay, give me what's a common linguistic style ba? Gusto ko yung mga sagot, yung mga possible na kasagutan. What are the common linguistic styles? Okay? In this, let's say, sige, kunwari lang, when you were starting this, you have it in your mind. You'll get it from Canvas, you'll get it from Messenger, Twitter. I don't know where you're going to get your data. Okay, sige. You give me one common linguistic style in these different messages when they are used by students, okay, to politely communicate along a choice of words. Anong linguistic style, common linguistic style ang pwede na lumabas, mag-surface dito? Kasi may along choice of words, along sentence structure. Gusto kong ano ba yung common linguistic styles na sinasabi ninyo?
Arrangement of words or phrases.
So one common linguistic style is arrangement of words. Is that what you mean, Miss Sarah?
Wait lang po, ma'am. Complex words or strong words.
Strong words. Okay, what about Mr. Patrick?
Formal.
Formal. Ano to, types of language ba yung sinasabi ninyo? Yun ba yun? What about asan yung isa? Sino yung isa? Si Miss Bagni.
Ma'am, linguistic style refers to how a person uses words in constructing a sentence or delivering a message.
O kaya nga, ano ang sample answer? Kasi kaya ko to tinatanong, titignan ko kung paano mong i-analyze yung mga messages and then derive the common linguistic styles in terms of what? Their choice of words and even their sentence structures. Parang mas maganda, what are the common linguistic styles in written speech used by males and females? Diba? Kasi males and females naman sa inyo. Diba? Ulit, parang yung sinabi ni Ma'am Greg kanina, dun lalabas yung choice of words, sentence structure. Okay. We will ask Ma'am Greg. Ma'am Greg is, of course, I'm sure willing to help us with how we can phrase this. Okay, Ma'am Greg, thank you.
Yes, okay. So we are with SOP number 2. With SOP number 2, it's the same thing, no? We try to give premium kasi nga we are trying to defend your title on gender politeness. So let's try to highlight that. Okay, so we carry over. So what common linguistic styles are used styles in written speech used by students in, ay, wait. Parang A and B, parang ganun pa rin.
Mm-mm.
Used by students.
Used by A, males, B,
Oo.
females. Oo.
Oo, parang ganun, ma'am.
Mm-mm.
Tapos, okay na yun. Mag-identify lang tayo ng ganun. Makikita natin yung differences.
Oh, in terms of choice of words, lalabas dun sa mga answers. In terms of sentence structure, mas laconic bang magsulat ang mga lalaki? For example, do they make use of minimal words? Do they, like women, flowery ba ang words? Kasi yun yung pinalalabas ninyo dun sa background, di ba? That females are more gentle, not all the time. You have to give us ako parang hindi yan applicable sa akin kasi parang ano yan, sketchy yan kay Miss Biscotcho, di ba? Oh, for example, so kailangan ganito, pag gumawa kayo sa background ninyo, do not get always the common. Yung parang yun lang ang nakikita natin na the books would always say that males are, like this and females are like this. Baka makahanap kayo ng something that will negate the usual. Di ba? Maganda yun pagka negate na yung usual kasi na-fortify yung paper mo, lumalago yung papel mo. Di ba? Yun. So, Ma'am Greg, what are the common linguistic styles in written speech?
In written speech used by,
used by a male, used by male, tanggalin mo yata yan eh.
What are the common linguistic?
By A, males, B, females. Di ba?
By A, male students, B, female students. Okay.
To politely communicate with their teachers. Yun naman na yun eh, yung common linguistic styles in written speech. Siyempre, we are talking about di ba? We are talking about politeness, gender politeness. Yun lalabas pa rin naman siya dyan, di ba? By A. Paano natin ipapasok yung politely communicate?
Oo nga eh. Pero
What
kailangan
are the
kasi
common
yun eh.
linguistic styles in written speech to communicate, di ba? Politeness with their teeth. Ay, wala na. Male. Dapat, what are the common, si Ma'am Jo, Ma'am Jo. Fix nga na ito. What are the common linguistic styles?
Use pa.
What are the common linguistic styles in written speech to politely sige, sasaglit nga. To politely communicate with their teachers as used by pwede ba yun? Ano ba yun? Ano naisip ko? Ano yun? Styles in written speech to politely communicate. Saglit mo. Lagay mo muna yung to politely communicate speech. To politely communicate with their teachers as, ngayon, Ma'am Greg? As seen in male and female students? Ano ba? As used by?
As used.
Oo, di ba? As used by a, baba mo yan na lang. Sino yung nagsusulat ba?
Si Patrick yata.
Ano yung choice of words siya sentence structure, Patrick?
Lalabas yun sis pagka nag-analyze.
Oo, pagka nag-analyze sila. Doon nila, yan yung mga linguistic styles na sinasabi nila.
Pero dadalawa lang yan ha, marami
Oo,
yun.
marami pa. Choice of words, tama yan. Sentence structure, tone, di ba? Pwede rin ang tone. Kasi alam mo, I can appear very polite, pero sarcastic. Kaya yun. Di ba? Kayang gawain yun.
Common linguistic styles in written speech politely communicate with their students, ay, with, with their teachers as used by, ayan. Okay.
Tapos tanggalin mo yung choice of words tsaka sentence structure. Okay. So, are we okay? Okay na ba tayo? Gusto talaga namin, yung researchers, maggawa kayo ng letter, hingi tayo ng permission sa ilang classes kaya, di ba? Siguro isang English, ewan ko kung anong class ang gusto ninyo. Alam mo, ayoko nga ng English class eh. Alam mo kung bakit marunong na yung English class. Oh, Ma'am Jang. Si Ma'am Jang.
Okay, ganito na lang. Kasi yung tama naman if you get it, it will be like content analysis. Tama yung sinabi nila, ma'am. You make a scenario. Okay? And then, ewan ko kung nagawa na ito sa sinong under me, social linguistic. I gave a Google form on this naman where I gave a scenario tapos nag-collect kayo ng mga responses from your friends and all. Tapos makikita, the one I showed na Ma'am Joanne tsaka Ma'am Alma, di ba? Sa content analysis, yung mga response ng mga friends nila. Nag-seminar, yung webinar natin na favorite nilang puntahan.
Yes, ma'am, that can be. But siguro, ma'am, para maging more credible, they can just get siguro a particular activity on letter making na lang from a particular textbook on that particular year level para na rin po, parang hindi na rin po sila ma-question on where they got it.
Pero I was thinking na it's really a situation supposed to be hindi lang tayo mag-limit sa letter. Like for example, okay, bibigyan mo siya ng scenario like late submission. An assignment. So how would you communicate to your teacher? Parang ganon. Or mga ganon, lagyan mo siya ng iba-ibang mga scenario para makikita natin. Kasi pag letter lang, automatic kasi formal yan. Automatic kasi, di ba parang structure eh.
Very polite.
So isip lang ng scenario.
Oo, tapos it doesn't have to be na in English lahat. Alam ko naman, lalo na pag if you want to use yung mga, kung gusto niyo pang tignan talaga yung strategies. Mostly boys will be very using vernacular, while female maraming please, yung mga ganun, may mga sila, diba? They're quite more gentle. So,
sino ba yung respondents ninyo?
Yung respondents ninyo, hindi naman laging English rin.
Hindi, ako ang suggestion ko, wag sa English. The English students know what you are doing already.
Gusto ko criminology.
Oo, gusto ko yung ibang kolehiyo, sa totoo lang. Yung talaga, yung hanap ka ng isang class, pwede ba yun? Pwede naman yun. It's for research.
For business students. The criminology, syempre, high respect sa mga superiors, mga yan. Pag business, di ba, goodwill should be practiced when it comes to, pati sa letter, writing, dapat meron yan. Dapat they know how to use politeness na hindi yung parang nandyan yung politeness all throughout. Kung gusto nyo. Pero syempre you have to, it's your own reason na rin how you will.
Kaya dapat you think about your respondents. Pero we dissuade you from using education students already. Kasi yung iba dyan aware na that you are conducting this study, na kailangan palabasin mo yung gender. Yung ibang colleges baka hindi pa gaanong aware sa gender politeness theory na yan or principle na yan, mas maganda doon. You will get a more valid data for analysis. Yun ang suggestion ko sa inyo. So pagka ang tanong nyo, ma'am, pwede ba yun? Baka hindi po kami i-allow. Pwede yun. I'm sure the other colleges would allow you. Okay? At ito pa ang masakit, online pa ang gusto ninyo, di ba? Online. So you are, how are we going to do that? You're going to do it via Google, hindi. Dati kasi kukunin nyo yung mga responses sa online, yung mga Facebook, mga ganon. O ngayon, kung magko-conduct na kayo nito, baka hindi na tayo online next trimester eh. di ba? Na syempre next trimester na ang ano nito, ang implementation nito. Eh, face-to-face na ito. Mas maganda na naman kung face-to-face. Okay? They are not given the time to think about their answers. So kung ano yung nilalaman ng utak at ng puso, sulat ka agad. Ganun yun, di ba? And they want to finish the activity. Okay? So yun ang suggestion namin na yung population na lang ninyo. Ako, ayoko ng eduk na sana. Ang gasgas na yung eduk. Kayo-kayo na lang ang nagre-research yan. Kaya nga siya research para naman makakuha tayo ng ibang ano, iba naman na ano na data, alam mo yun, parang ano na eh. Kaya minsan ang reason rin kaya ayaw na nilang sagutin, nauuma na yung mga, lalo na yung English, 'di ba? Nauuma na sila sila lang nagsasagot. Parang nagre-researchan kayo eh. Parang nire-research niyo yung first year, pag ano yung second year. Sana ang suggestion ko, maganda yung ano ni Ma'am Jan, business add students, okay? Or maybe you could think about it amongst your group later on. But definitely, huwag na kayong kumuha ng messages. Walang teacher na magbibigay sa inyo ng message. Walang teacher. They do not like. Okay? That will only spark problems later on. Eh baka ma-question pa yung mga research advisor nyo na ano ba itong pinakukuha natin na data? Very private ito. Okay, there is such a thing as data privacy talaga. It's difficult. Okay, so yun. Tapos yung mga BOS ninyo, wala kayong references. Walang significance. Who's going to benefit from this? Mga ano dito, 1980, 1995. So, di pa kayo pinanganganak noon. Times have changed. Okay? The gender politeness, the way we do our politeness before is entirely different from the way we do our politeness now. Okay? Noon, iba kaming magsalita, iba rin tayong magsalita ngayon. But it does not mean to say na impolite kayo. Diba? Yun lang ang trend ninyo. So, vary your background of the study. Okay, by the way, anong theory ito? Anong theory tayo, Mr. Patrick and the group? Anong theory ang ginamit?
Politeness theory po by Brown and Levinson po.
Related na theories. Ang daming related theories about politeness. Di ba? Maybe you would want to exhaust social linguistics, ang dami dyan, pati psycholinguistics, ang dami nito. Kasi male and female, okay, marami kayong pwedeng makuha na other theories. I think you can include that. Okay? Okay na po ako, Mama Janice. And syempre, yung instruction na lang ninyo on how you will conduct your study sa isang class, since that is the suggestion. Maybe later on you could think about it. Okay? So let's ask the other panel members. Ma'am Greg and Ma'am Jo, thank you.
Okay, Ma'am Alma. Just an add-on to Ma'am Alma's suggestion. Please consider also Mayer's written discourse theory, since you will be considering now articles or communication messages, something like that. Okay. Now, in order for you to be guided in the thematic analysis and presentation later on, once that you were able to gather already your data, it would be good if you will be having at least a guide. You write first politeness strategies. That's the term. Identify it or define it using a definition of an expert. Then identify this bold on record, this negative, this positive, this off record, or indirect, because these are your expected answers, correct? Now you must be guided correctly and accurately. So ito na yung mga answers nyo. All right. Then next item, identify what is meant by linguistic style. That's the term. Define it with an expert. Then identify, you have to identify what are this. Dadalawa yung nakalagay dito, but you can still add more kung gusto nyo. Anyhow, soon you can have just you try to have elimination na lang later on kung wala naman kayong nahanap. Pero at least meron kayong guide kung paano sasagutin ang SOP number 2. Okay? So far, yun lang muna ang sa akin. Ma'am Joanne?
Thank you, ma'am. I'm also good. The other minor suggestions and comments were already placed in your paper. Ma'am Zhang, I'll try my best to visit the office tomorrow, but if not, the latest might be sa ano na lang po, sa Tuesday. Thank you, ma'am. Congratulations.
No worries, Ma'am Joanne. Okay, so we're okay na po. Ma'am Alma, Ma'am Greg.
Yeah.
Okay. Patrick, before you stop the recording and give the host back to me. Okay, para i-enter, papasok na rin yung next researchers. Okay, so researchers, I wish we can meet or find time to meet and then sa next na SEM. Okay, and I'll give me an update sa mga revisions niyo. There is a module 6 yung summary of revisions. Kahit yun yung ipas ninyo before August 6, okay? So to just check if you have listed all yung mga latest or the ones you will be keeping for your research paper, yung mga suggestions ng mga panelists niyo, okay? Do you have any more questions before we go? Before you go pala?
None na po. Wala na po, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll see you very soon. You may now leave so we can accommodate the next researchers. Transfer lang muna yung yan na si Sir Jonas.
Thank you so much po.
Okay, thank you. Transfer the hosting to me, Patrick.